Welcome, dear friends, to Cardiac Radio at 11 p.m., nourishing our souls with the laws of love. This phenomenal book that is deeply enlightening. A book that says Emmanuel, its author, who through mediums, two mediums, he wrote this book. Chico, Xavier, and Waldo Vieira in 1962 to 63, when it was published, wrote this phenomenal book about the Spiritist view on suffering to help educate us. Let us not forget that education means acquisition of new habits. But to acquire new habits, we need new instruction. We have in this book 8 chapters. And of these 8 chapters, we are almost concluding the 3rd chapter. But we've done chapter 1, Spiritual Causes of Illnesses, chapter 7, Treatment of Illnesses and Spiritism, and now chapter 5, almost at the end of it, Obsession, which is a spiritual disease. Negative influence that becomes persistent from one mind to another. But let me share something with you today. We're going to talk about something that is major, about our susceptibilities, our vulnerabilities. We all have them. Even Jesus said to Peter, Peter, people are most often, what are they? They are fragile, vulnerable, more fragile than evil. And it's right, but we need to recognize it. Why? Because we are growing. Think of a tender plant, a just sprouting seed, very vulnerable. Think of a full-grown pine tree, less vulnerable. Our vulnerabilities have everything to do with our evolution. But today, you and I are going to study 3 questions altogether. Questions 15, 16, and 17. We're going to begin with 17. When Emmanuel asked, what are the images that reflect the mirror of the mind? So first of all, the mirror of the mind. And you may be asking, I don't understand the concept. It's like that. As he says in chapter 1 of the book, Thought and Life. Emmanuel explains to us in that book and repeats here in the book Laws of Love that our mind is a mirror of the spirit, meaning it's like a computer. I, Vanessa, am the owner, and my mind is the hardware, and in the hardware, I'm going to keep the images that I seek. Right? That's exactly the answer. What are the images that reflect in the mirror of the mind? Because I am the spirit and I use the computer, there's a hardware. What are the images in this computer that I'm using right now? The images that I seek. If somebody else uses this computer, they are going to use. So we're saying that our mind is unique. It's customized according to our interests. So what is in our mental field? We need to know. It will be great to practice that exercise the mentor Joseph said the other day, the universal mirror, and visualize ourselves. Just do 3 abdominal breaths, relaxation breathing, as Dr. Benson says. Visualize yourself in the mirror of the universe. Who am I? You will feel emotions, thoughts, hear words. Just watch for a few minutes. And then take some crayons or color pencil and draw. It doesn't need to be concrete images. What you feel is in your mental field. And then make a decision, as we learned yesterday. It's a moral decision. At each thought and feeling, you and I are directing our lives vibratorily to the good or do bad things, to evil things. So it's a moral decision, what we think, what we feel, what we say, what we do. So the question is, if this is what it is in our minds, what do we receive from others? And the answer goes straight to the law of the mental field. We assimilate from others what we give. And this is so critical for us. We're going to receive what we give. But Vanessa, that person's so loving, so kind, and they were brutally murdered. Excuse me. We're going to talk about the line of immortality. Look at the ruler. We were created here at some point. We're not eternal. We are immortal. God is eternal. There's no beginning nor end. We have a beginning, but we have no end. But right now, we're kind and loving. But were we yesterday? We understand now. So we're going to assimilate what we give. Think of stars in the sky. Let's think together. Stars in the sky. We look at the sky and we see stars. Actually, you're seeing their light. And when we see their light, we think, oh, they are there. According to the astronomers, they have emitted that light years away. And we're seeing it here now. Maybe the star is even dead. That's what they say. But we're still seeing. That's what happens to us. What we do, depending on the intensity, the frequency, it stays. That's why Chico Xavier used to say something that he learned with Emmanuel, that the good that we do today, will be our lawyer, our advocate tomorrow. The good is so powerful that it lasts forever. But evil is short-lasting. Why? Why is evil short-lasting? Because it actually simply means the absence of the good. So it's like a shadow. Once we adjust ourselves, there's no more shadow. Think of the sun at noon. It's exactly on top of our head, right? And of course, we say this if we're really underneath it, and there's no shadow. So when we really adjust ourselves, there's no more lack of light, no more evil. Now we get it, don't we? We do. So the law of the mental field says that we're going to receive what we give. Question for us. What are we giving? Because what happened in the past we cannot change. But we can change today for tomorrow. Do I want kindness? Let's give kindness. Do I want love? Let's give love. But Vanessa, people are so brutal. That's their problem. That's why we need to read these novels by Emmanuel 2,000 years ago. Yes, go to Amazon and buy it. 2,000 years ago by Emmanuel through Chico Xavier. 50 years later, the same spirit reincarnates. And then in each book, Hail Christ, Renunciation, Paul and Stephen, we're going to find these beautiful spirits, incarnated souls, from Livia to Anna to Celia, Quintus Varus. We're going to find Alcyone, Father Damien, and then later Paul and Stephen, we're going to find Abigail, Stephen, and later Paul of Tarsus. Friends, we give the good because it feels good. Because it's good, it's a plantation. We are sowing. What we sowed in the past, what we were doing, sowing in the past, it's gone. Now, we are sowing again. But, what is the relationship between our vulnerable points and how our evil actions return to us? Because you know there's an action and reaction law. We cannot escape. So he's being asked, what about our vulnerabilities in this action and reaction? We're talking about relationships. Vulnerabilities, relationships. And Emmanuel replies, we understand that each one of us has points of vulnerability, vulnerable points. In our evolutionary state that is still not fully evolved. And every time evil associates with us in this or that idea, we will receive the same evil that comes back to us, aggravating illnesses, weaknesses, obsessions, and passions. Okay, stop. Let's go back. He says, first of all, we have our vulnerabilities because we're still evolving. Think again. We are not fully experienced. Let's think together. We're not. So we still don't know many things. So we're fragile. We're vulnerable. Because not knowing means not making good choices often. Because we don't know. Like many people nowadays. They are afraid of the vaccine. Why? Because they don't know. They believe in theories that are totally lacking foundation. I talk to people daily about it. And people share their myths. And then little by little we say, come on, my friend. Let us go through the facts. So we're vulnerable when we lack knowledge, when we lack experience. Right? You remember, when we are younger, we tend to do things like, I don't care, don't do this. Since we're babies, right? Parents say, don't jump on the couch. Don't jump, and there is even the song. 5 little monkeys jumping on the bag. One fell off and bumped his head. Why the song? Because it's common. They hear the song and they keep jumping on the bed. And we keep hearing children who keep falling and hurting themselves. So, not all kids do it, but many kids do it. We lack experience. We lack prudence, right? Because we're not evolved yet. And every time, the second element, every time we have an idea that is not healthy, at that moment, because we're vulnerable and we're not thinking or feeling correctly, which makes us connect with other frequencies that are alike, that evil of the past has opened doors to come back and aggravate our vulnerabilities, weaknesses, illnesses, obsessions, and passions, aggravating. So let me use quickly here for our visual understanding. If you're listening to this, forgive me, but visualize it. We're drawing here what Emmanuel is explaining. So he's saying, we have vulnerable points because of our evolutionary state. We're evolving. Okay, that's not a big deal. It's understandable. It's like a child. They need much care because they are fragile. They're still evolving. Same with us, spiritually speaking. And then when I sum that up, okay, when I sum that up, okay, hold on a second, friends, with when I sum that up, I'm just getting here, when I sum, big sum sign, with, now, when I sum that up, my vulnerability with evil, evil I mean bad, not good, not good thoughts, we automatically, at this point, associate ourselves with I'm just laughing because of my distorted plus sign. Evil thoughts will make us associate ourselves with evil minds. And that, all of it results in, now, the big picture for us. Aggravation of what? Now he's going to say, it's going to aggravate. 1, obsessions. So if we're obsessed, it's going to go to another level. Go to the 23rd chapter of the Medium's book. It talks about levels. Simple common obsession, that negative influence that we all feel. Next level. What is the next level? The next level is, and we say type, fascination, when we're blind to the scenario. Like many people are not seeing the good of the vaccine. This is what we call obsession, fascination. And this is what in the study this week by scholars in Brazil, they show to us that there is this pandemic going on, and there is an obsessive pandemic, a common collective obsession. And there are 2 types of obsession. The collectivity, when people are thinking of the same thoughts, like, oh, we don't believe in the vaccine, and they talk bad about the vaccine, and there's no facts, it's just myths. People talk about it. They are fascinated. And the second is individualism, when people don't want to participate in the collective. And now we're seeing with the pandemic more and more people retreating, feeling isolated. The more we are isolated, the more obsessed we are. We're escaping relationships. We're escaping ourselves. So, obsession. And what else does he say to us that is going to happen? Illnesses, weaknesses, and passions will be aggravated. Now, this is huge for us. So, if we're ill, it's going to be aggravated. If we have weaknesses, it's going to be aggravated. And if we have passions, they will be maximized. So, however vulnerable we are, if we don't today, some people are like, but Vanessa, I'm so weak on this. I'm so bad at that. I'm so fragile on this. How can I help myself? Think the good, feel the good, visualize the good, mold the good. Always, 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 always. Alone, you cannot do it. I cannot do it either. None of us have. We are not self-made. So we all need the collective help. but not to think like everybody else. We need to think under the Christ consciousness. But if we don't, we're going to make associations of like minds, and then we'll have greater obsessions, greater illnesses, greater weaknesses, greater passions. What does that mean? We need to improve our fragilities, our vulnerabilities. If we have weaknesses, let's fix it up, strengthen ourselves. If we have passions, let us tame the passions. If we are feeling obsessions, let's work on spiritual treatments. If we're ill, let's find healing. I remember this paper by psychiatrists at the Spirit Release Foundation in the UK. And they talk about how our vulnerabilities may be maximized by obsessors when we're sick. And people think, but Vanessa, what about our spiritual protection? Well, but what are we doing to help out? So here's a case to wrap up. A case by Maurício Tessi, Humberto de Campos Sestro, Chico Xavier, the true case of a man who was young and was very temperamental. He was not very disciplined in his mind, very intolerant, impatient. And he got sick. His mother was discarnated. And she came to assist. There was a group, because of her prayers, there was a group of spirit doctors around helping him out. And she's like, not understanding why he doesn't improve. And the doctors explain. Look, we have a log, day by day. If he doesn't have his illness now, he's gonna go into greater obsession. So in this case, the obsession is helping. The illness is preventing him from getting to obsession. How so? Because whenever he is impatient, when he's getting better, he's already impatient, intolerant, having thoughts that are not good. He opens the doors to the spirits who are obsessing, and they explain, sometimes they are in his bedroom. So you and I today are being powered. Now we know the mechanism. That's why Spiritism is phenomenal. And what is the exercise for us in the next 24 hours? Let's focus on what we can fix now. Something that can solve all the problems. If I have grudges, get rid of the grudges. There are beautiful visualizations by Louise Hay on YouTube for free. Listen to it daily. Do the visualizations. If we have resentments, if we're deeply irritated, do more meditation. Meditation helps patience with patience. It does. It makes us more patient. But above all, let's practice more thinking the good. Right? We're going to repeat the exercise of yesterday because we need a shower of positivity. So let us visualize this light showering upon us. Look at the picture behind me. No matter the clouds, the shining light comes, thinking the good. Let us seek the good. As Emmanuel says in the book Thought and Light, feel the good, visualize the good, and mold the good with all the resources we have at hand. But be quick on the good. Don't leave it for tomorrow, because usually you're like, tomorrow I'm going to deliver this packages. Tomorrow I'm going to, when you go to the post office or anywhere you go and the cashier gets their pen and circles the survey, even at a Dunkin' Donuts. They say, this is the code for the survey. And we leave and we don't do anything. But that's the good we can do. Stop for a few minutes. Download the SQ app, the scan app. Go to the website if you don't want to download the app. Wherever you go, do the survey. Say how grateful you are. We're quick on complaining, but not so quick on praising, encouraging people. And that's really the good. When we attune to doing the good, we transform, we dissolve all those knots in our spiritual body. We need a super duper amount of good, right? Let us feel for others and press on, as Emmanuel says often, in doing the good. Friends, it feels good to be here with you. It feels good to be together in knowing the good, doing the good. We're very grateful to Emmanuel, Chico, Xavier, Waldo, Vieira, and the loving governance of this earth who provided us with the new understanding. We'll be stronger as we press on the good. Thank you, friends. See you tomorrow, God willing, here at Kardec Radio, where we're always nourishing our souls.